תערוכת אינטרסולר 2011, סיקור מיוחד רק בפורטל תשתיות, בחסות אנרפוינט ישראל, עוצמה בינלאומית, בית ישראלי.
The new EEG will enter into force on the 1st of January next year, 2012. And what I tried to visualize here for you is the steps, the developing steps to that legislative goal. And what is maybe interesting that this German law is based on European directives, but it's a very special German way. And we had the question after the first speech, what do you think, is this a success story in a more broader or global view? And I would say it depends a lot on the way of promoting renewable energy, photovoltaics, and by which legal system. And the German EEG is a special way to promote this energy, and you have to bear that in mind when you talk about success story or not. It is about grid integration. And the goal is to integrate renewable energies into the conventional energy market. Direct marketing is an important step on the way to achieve that goal, and also self-consumptions, incentive to self-consumption. The new EEG adheres to approved principles. It is the obligation of grid operators to connect installations to the grid. This is a legal obligation. It's the feed-in priority, and it's regulated feed-in tariffs for, in principle, 20 years. About the market and system integration, there's a stronger feed-in management, and the legislator tries to enhance cost efficiency and the safeguard of these approved financing systems, but also tries to introduce a broader a basis for the EEG surcharge, and tries to reduce exemptions for special groups of customers, and tries to prevent abuses. What about the adjustment of the feed-in tariffs? We have already had a first adjustment this year on the 12th of April, and we'll have further reductions next year. These 6% we have already mentioned, so it seems to be not a concrete project of the German government. The EEG 2012 retains the basic digression of 9% per year, and there is an adjustment of flexible digression based on additional installation, like as we know it from the former versions of EEG, this corridor, this flexible corridor. The legislator's goal in general is to limit the costs for further extensions of PV installations. It's not to limit the extension, but to limit the costs. About ground open space installations, we've already heard that there are some new rules in the new EEG, that there are no explicit rules on green areas, agricultural land and fallow land in the new EEG. But two exceptions, the sealed areas and the conversion areas, already known from the former EEG, and the motorways and railroad areas as well known. What's new is the national park and nature protection area exceptions, some legal details. I just wanted to show you one example of how the new law is developing the former version. This is about the direct consumptions, reducing the threshold from 500 kilowatt to 100, and fixing a new date, 1st January of 2014. But what's interesting is that this electricity must not be transported through a grid. And what is grid? You find from the explication to the new law that this is a public grid and not a private grid or an industrial grid. The direct marketing for operators of installations, this is the old the old rule, section 17 of the EEG, operators are entitled to sell the electricity to third parties. Then there's no feed-in tariff. The advantages are only interesting if there is the electricity price at the power exchange is higher than the feed-in tariff, of course, and which is not really the case at the time being. The legislator tries to develop this rule further. In the draft, here the draft of 6th of June, yesterday, there are some special rules developing further these direct marketing procedures. There will be a so-called market premium, which will be paid as a difference between the EEG feed-in tariff and the power exchange price.
תערוכת אינטרסולר 2011, סיקור מיוחד רק בפורטל תשתיות. בחסות אנרפוינט ישראל, עוצמה בינלאומית, בית ישראלי.